Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Um, I'm in Dirty Myrtle with the family on a little mini vacation the past couple of days. I wasn't planning on making any college football videos while I was here because I'm hanging out with the family. But as everybody knows, media days started today, specifically the SEC media days. And I had this thought in my head yesterday. I was like, I know when Brian Kelly is confronted with the Clemson game tomorrow, he's going to say something really stupid or possibly multiple really stupid things. And boy, was I right. I'm sure a lot of you have heard or read what he said. Let's start with the fact that he admitted openly that they put Clemson paws on their tackling bags or whatever I don't know what you call those stupid things, the foam pads that they practice tackling on. They put Clemson paws on the pads. I guess this is supposed to make Clemson scared, or it's supposed to rile the guys up. You know, they see a paw and they're supposed to go get it or something. I don't know. And then also, if that wasn't bad enough, which is really cheesy, by the way, they have 1-0 posted up all over the football facility. They think they've already got this game won. Never mind the fact that Brian Kelly is 1-3 against Clemson, going back to his Notre Dame days. He's 0-1 in Death Valley. I was actually there, 2015 with the Hurricane game. That was actually probably the best football game I've ever seen in person, or at least the most entertaining, despite the fact that the weather sucked. So he's really got no leg to stand on when it comes to Clemson. On top of that, he said, we've made beating Clemson week 1 a priority. What major football program's head coach doesn't make every game winning a priority? You know, and I'll even throw some shade at Dabo here. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago when Dabo said, "Oh yeah, it's not really about winning; it's about this and it's about that." And I was irate, and I went on and made a video about, what do you mean you don't care about winning? They're paying you $11 million to win. Period. So look, if I was an LSU fan, rather, I would be so tired of this guy by now. I'm not. Look, I don't know how they feel about him down there. How much money do they have to pay him if he gets fired? Because they gave him a stupid contract to begin with. Yeah, he won a lot of games. He's the winningest coach in the history of Notre Dame football as far as percentage-wise or numbers-wise. But what was the big knock on Brian Kelly? He could never win the big game. And not to mention, he's 0 for 3 in opening games since he's been at LSU. Against some teams that at least 2 of those games, he had a better team. He should have won. So the whole thing is embarrassing, putting up 1-0, putting paws on the pads and all this stuff. And to put the icing on the cake, somebody needs to give this guy a history book or a history lesson. Sorry, my air conditioner is kicked on. Somebody needs to give this guy a history lesson on Death Valley. I've been over this 100 times, and I'm not going to, beat a dead horse here. But Clemson was the Death Valley 11 years before LSU was. They were Death Valley. Clemson was Death Valley. Clemson's football stadium and campus is located in a valley. Is there any valleys down in the bayou? No, of course not. But he's like, oh yeah. We'll let them borrow the name. No, we've been letting you borrow the name since 1959. You stole the name. This would be like, and here's the real bad news for LSU. If they wanted to get away from Death Valley copying Clemson's name of their football stadium, they'd be like, okay, well, what actually makes sense since we aren't located in a valley like Clemson is? We're down in the swamp. We'll call it the swamp. Oh, wait. We can't do that because Florida's already called the swamp. Well, you're screwed. You're screwed. So it's just one embarrassing comment after another. If you think that putting paws on pads and putting 1-0 up around your football facility is going to win you a football game on the road in Death Valley, you're smoking something.